Hello, ladies.
Hey,
how are y'all? Can I help you?
We need a gallon of boiled peanuts, warm, please.
Okay. You ladies like boiled peanuts?
Yes.
I like them pretty good too. Did you know peanuts have no cholesterol? Yeah. Well, peanuts have no cholesterol. They're good for you. You know what this is for, don't you?
Yes.
We're going to make a mess with boiled peanuts.
So we can clean our mess up.
Right.
Sometimes it drips.
Uh-huh. Sometimes it drips. Why, thank you.
We thank you. Have a good day.
Come back and see me.
Boiled peanuts tend to be a acquired taste to some people. Others immediately like them the first time they taste them. I like green peanuts, like boiled peanuts, like roasted peanuts. I just around them every day, all day, and I enjoy peanuts. I'm Kelly Bennett. I'm with Birdsong Peanuts out of Suffolk, Virginia. Birdsong Peanuts is the largest buyer of peanuts in the United States. Through the years, Birdsong has seen an increase in demand for peanuts, and they've also needed to grow their regions that they buy peanuts in. One area that stuck out to them was in Bladen County in southern North Carolina, because the acres of peanuts being grown in this region has nearly doubled since 2000. So it's turned out to be a good fit being in this area.
For decades and decades, Bladenboro was a textile town. Now the town is in a transition. The textiles are completely gone. So we're in the process of, trying to figure out where Bladenboro goes from here. So we're recruiting new industries here. Our ambition this time is more for a very diverse economy, very diverse industrial base, so that if any one sector suffers, you don't see the town go through what it went through before. We built our first spec building in the Bladenboro Industrial Park around 2002. We had a boat manufacturer come through. They saw the building and said, hey, the building's perfect, except it doesn't have a lamination bay. Well, fortunately, we have a nonprofit real estate corporation that could come in and buy the building and add 16,000 feet on it for a lamination bay. Now it is a state-of-the-art boat manufacturing facility. Right about the same time that Bladen Composites was searching for a site, we got a call from Birdsong Peanuts. They were looking for a facility to do a weigh station, buying station, and warehousing of peanuts. We decided that selling them half of the industrial park would be well worth it. Now that it's been built, it's obvious that it was worth it.
Birdsong Peanuts is 10. How may I help you?
Generally, the peanuts come out of the field at harvest from the farmers. Once they're dried and conditioned, would be then sampled. If they meet the certain standards, then Birdsong at that point would purchase the peanuts from the farmer. We have a capability here in the event the peanuts are not suitable. We can run them through a cleaner. At that point, they are dumped into our storage facilities, either in the overhead bins for shipping out promptly, or in the large 10,000-ton warehouse for storage until such time as the plant in Suffolk, Virginia needs a supply of peanuts. One of the things that's interesting with peanuts, people in this region, basically from the Fayetteville area south, tend to lean towards preferring boiled peanuts. North of Fayetteville, the people aren't that familiar with boiled peanuts or don't prefer them. They'd rather have the roasted or the salted in the shell peanuts.
Foreigners, as I say, quote, don't like boiled peanuts at first, but they will taste them and then maybe taste another one. But let me tell you a funny story. My husband was from Indiana. One time we were coming to Bladenboro to visit my family, and then we were going on to the beach, and his sister and husband came with us. and she had heard me talking about boiled peanuts. So she was looking forward to seeing what boiled peanuts were. And we passed by a stand where they were selling boiled peanuts, and we stopped and bought a bag of boiled peanuts. And she looked at them, she said, "I thought you were saying bald peanuts." See, Indiana, the people there have a little accent.
Industry development is very important because it becomes the base of the rest of the development of your town. Taking, for example, birdsong. It's a good piece of tax base, but the impact doesn't stop there. There are hundreds of trailers that come through there, and those trailers have to have tires. And the trucks, lots of times have to have mechanics. The truck drivers have to have somewhere to eat. The trucks have to have somewhere to buy fuel. All the contracts they write, millions of dollars worth of contracts that local farmers can take advantage of, and grow peanuts, and in turn, when they make the money off selling them to birdsong, can spend that money in the community. Among the things that I think really will attract industries here, this town and the communities around it have a fantastic work culture. This is a strong area for mechanical aptitude and fabricating. We had a couple of military contractors come in here, and they were immediately able to find, highly skilled people to do mechanic type work, to do fabrication type work. Where people talk about, all the plants and things going overseas, outsourcing. What we like to refer to now is rural sourcing. Instead of looking overseas, let's look at rural sourcing in places like Bladenboro. This town is really on the threshold of something good. The boat manufacturer is in and starting to hire people. Birdsong is buying lots of peanuts. We just came out of a bumper crop. We're just very close to locating a couple more industries and hopefully creating a couple of hundred manufacturing jobs and creating something that can stimulate the development of the town.
Well, first you have to dig them out of the ground.
And pick them off the bush by hand and wash them good with lots of water. Lift them out of that dirty water and maybe wash them again. And then put them in big pots and with water to cover. And somewhere along the way you put salt in the water and boil them until they're soft and edible.
And then you take them up, drain the water off, and then you take them up and let them cool, and you eat them like that. You put them in a bowl and eat them with your fingers. Pop the shell and boil peanuts in it.
Very simple.
Here's a jar of boiled peanuts that a farmer canned last year. We stand to handle more peanuts this year than any other buying facility in North Carolina, South Carolina, or Virginia. If we reach that level, we may celebrate by opening these. These are like champagne to us.
How you doing, Ronnie? I want some boiled peanuts.
All right, Doug. I'll see what I can do. How many you want?
Just give me a little bag to start with.
What you been doing?
Been doing a little deer hunting. We go sit in the tree and eat some boiled peanuts.
You can't kill deer eating boiled peanuts.
Don't tell me, we killed 2 the other day. Me and Jacob. I tell you, that's why he come out here and got a bag. And he give me half.
You mean that bag he come out here the other day?
He give me half of them and a napkin.
It brought you good luck.
Yeah, it sure worked out good.
I grew up in Johnston County. I grew up with the same prejudiced tendencies because it was part of our culture, part of our upbringing. Growing up, being raised in that culture, I know I said the N-word too many times. Tar babies was a normal word. And then it was my experience serving in the military that made me realize how wrong that attitude was. Because after I joined the Army and I had an American Indian for a roommate, I had an Italian from Bronx, New York as a roommate. I had a lot of African American roommates. I started to see that, you know, we all still love baseball, mom, and apple pie.
The military was like a family. We lived together, we cared about each other. No matter where we went, we would fight for each other. This is in the States, that war, whatever. And of course, once we come back home from the wars, we're right back into this prejudice again. Now that was one of the worst things that could happen because we all fought together. Many of us fought side by side. We did many things together while in combat. And then we come back here and return to the same standards as we had before. And most of the whites were higher rank than the minorities. And that sort of hurt. You coming from the same zone, you got along well and come back. And then you come back and even the people in the stores, when you go into a market, they look down on you. Vietnam veteran, he's just crazy. And that was partially true. We learned to fight, we know it's war, and when we come back, we still have that fight. The war's still going on within us.
When I came back home to Johnston County, even though I had changed, Johnston County had not. I joined an American Legion post in the county, and we were having a membership drive, and I brought it up that there's a lot of black veterans in the area, and we should go out and recruit the black veterans. And immediately I was told by the World War II and Korean War veterans that they didn't belong as a part of the post at that time. Their attitudes were, the blacks have a post in Smithfield that they can belong to. You know, this is our post here. I ended up leaving that post because I had a real issue with that attitude.
I visited many American Legions, but I did not feel welcome. I was not welcome. There was one in Maryland I went to, and they told me that you should go to another one. And then when I went there, I saw that this was all black. I said, my God, what's it? So it was just difficult when I see things like that. Hey, we fight together, but we can't drink together when I come back home. It's ridiculous.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
518 always been a small post, my understanding. I think they had like 15, 16 members to start the charter. Mr. King, the founder, primarily he was helping veterans file claim. He helped a lot of black veterans up down Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, because during the 70s and 80s, what have you, a lot of they go to the white post and try to get citizens and file a claim, and they wasn't taking care of them.
I saw an ad in the newspaper that there was an American Legion post in Clayton, another American Legion post, other than the one that I knew was already here. And when I saw it, I thought to myself, I told my wife, I said, you know, this is heartbreaking because I know what this is. This is a group of black veterans who have gotten together and formed their own post because they didn't feel welcome somewhere else. So I made a decision that to not act was to condone everybody's attitude as being right. So I decided I didn't want to be a part of the problem. I wanted to be part of the future. I wanted to help change America, so that's the post that I joined.
Greg, it's just a plus. I mean, I want all races to be in that post. Plus, he's talented too. You know, he's do our newsletter, and he's on the project committee, grant committee, and he's a hard-working veteran.
There's a real disparity in our school system. Only 47% of black males graduate high school. That is a travesty. Less than 7% 8th grade black males read on grade level. It's a travesty. We have the opportunity to create a change within our community by standing up and say, that's not good enough for Clayton, and we can get involved with these kids and we can help make a positive difference. And that's part of what we need to be about as veterans. We fought for our country, and now it's time that we fight for our community.
When I look back over my whole military service, which was not that long, I was only in for 4 years, but I guess I lived a lot in 4 years when it was on 3 different continents. And seeing how much people struggle for the idea of having equal rights. Over time, I began to associate looking at what their struggles were to looking at the struggles that African Americans had to overcome in America. So it kind of put everything into a visual context for me that really started to touch me and made me want to do something to make a change.
By me being the district commander, I had to go out and visit posts, and I do see some of the posts, some of the same patterns, predominantly white, and no diversity, you know. So it's still set in the 60s and the 70s, but now progress has been made. At one time, for the American Legion, a black person couldn't be at the district level, you know, back in the days. And like now, I'm the district vice commander, and we have a black district commander, and that's awesome. And you got to continue to try to build and love each other, and there's still some more work needs to be done, you know. But you got to keep plugging at it.
A lot of the things that you have, you don't know where they came from necessarily.
When you're in all this memorabilia, you see all the things that people cherished and had in their homes.
It's a more interesting and a more meaningful way to live, I think, when you're surrounded by history. Just because you don't know the exact history of the object, I don't think that takes away from the meaningfulness of it. In fact, I think it sort of adds some mystique. You know, there's a little bit of a mystery there, and it makes you wonder, where has this piece been? You know, who has touched it? How did it survive this long?
He was from down near Fayetteville somewhere, and he came in looking around, and he saw that portrait of that lady, and he said, I want to buy it. And I thought, why? Because it was not. But come to find out, there was an old log cabin on his property that he was redoing and furnishing, and he said he was going to hang that in there and tell everybody it was his grandmother or great-grandmother or somebody. Well, he did make the comment that his grandmother never liked him. So
The thing about it, with her looking over your shoulder, you won't stay long.
This is Sarah, and she has come all the way from Pennsylvania, where she was always in my grandmother's house. She was always on the landing, and so as a child, you know, I would have to keep my eye on her as I walked past her quickly, because I was a little bit scared of her. I thought she was going to get me. She's named after some sort of actress from the late 1800s. And she's not as scary to me anymore, and I'm happy to have it, because I think it's really awesome to have something that has been in the family for that long.
This is a wardrobe that Jeanne Haywood brought in, isn't it? Belonged to her family. Anyway, it's put together like a puzzle. We got it up, and we had to have one person on this side holding this side, one person on the back holding that side, and then you put this cap, the whole piece is the cap, and it fits down over the top of it and holds everything together. You take the cap off, it'll just go flop out.
Well, they have a story, and they have a history, and they give you a feeling.
Before we got married again, I said, well, you know, I have to have a vanity for our room. We found one down in South Carolina. So we called the people about it and told them we were going to come and pick it up. We were driving a van at the time. They said, oh no, this will never fit in the van. You have to bring something else. And I said, they're crazy. It has to fit in that van. We get there, and of course, it won't fit in the van. We're, you know, moving it this way and that way, trying to get it in there. We ended up having to take off the legs and dismantle it a little bit. And then we got it in there, but we couldn't close the door. While we were loading it and all the way home, it started to sleet and snow. And so we had to drive all the way home, like 3 hours, going about 20 miles an hour. It was snowing, and this thing was hanging out halfway out of the back of our van.
My wife and I really like antique pieces that have a lot of carvings and faces, gargoyles, and creatures. A carved pediment of some sort. We don't know exactly where it came from or what it was on. It could have been an architectural element above a doorway. It could have been part of a bed or a sideboard, or who knows, really. I think the florist has been in business here since 1953. It had always been part of the drugstore, and it looked like the town might lose that, and we were able to buy it before it went out of business and got it moved in here, and we've been running it ever since.
And the thing that I love about the florist business is that you deal with people from birth to death.
I sent them to my mother for her birthday.
From my boyfriend.
to celebrate the birth of our first baby boy.
It was my grandmother's favorite flower, and she got married with a bouquet of calla lilies, so I got married with a bouquet of calla lilies.
Coworkers sent me flowers.
From my husband on Valentine's Day.
From my sister.
For no reason other than he loves me and he knows they're my favorite flower.
When we opened up our coffee shop.
My birthday anniversary.
For Valentine's Day, for our anniversary.
That was on the occasion of my mom passing away. Well, I know I felt honored that anybody would take their time just to honor my mom in that way, like with that physical display.
Flowers, they don't last for very long, but I think it says something a little bit more to send someone a thing of beauty.
Flowers are for the soul. I really feel like that.
I just think it just makes you smile. It makes you...
Yeah, a lot of times just to show love.
Oh gosh.
Their hope.
To share beauty with other people.
Men want to impress women.
Just to let you know that sometimes what a florist can get into, in the case where a wife received flowers from someone that was not her husband. The husband came after me. I first said that I could not divulge, and I finally had to tell him or I was going to get bashed around a little bit.
Flowers are such a beautiful thing to add into your life.
And just to say, hey, you know, I'm thinking of you.
It's just a lovely gesture.
It's amazing how bright it can make your day.
Just an internal happiness is wonderful.
They're just part of your story.
So we've got something special here. It's something people are rediscovering.